This is not just an urban legend. The doll that inspired Chucky was real and for years spread terror in an old house in Key West, Florida. An innocent boy, a maid full of vengeance, and a cursed toy sparked the most macabre story Hollywood ever hid. Before we go on, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment below which horror character you want me to cover in the next video. In 1904, a boy named Robert Eugene Otto was given a handmade doll by one of the housemaids. She had been unjustly fired and, according to locals, practiced witchcraft. Before leaving, she handed over the toy with a cold smile. "He will take care of you." The doll wore a sailor suit and had a bizarre face with black button eyes and a grin that seemed to mock. Robert was enchanted and named it after himself. Robert. From that night on, things began to change. Noises echoed through the house. Doors creaked on their own. Robert's parents woke up to laughter in the middle of the night. The boy said he was playing with Robert but swore it wasn't him who laughed. The maids begged to leave, claiming they felt something evil in the boy's room. And the doll, always in the corner, seemed to listen. One night his mother rushed to the room after hearing desperate screams. She found the boy trembling in a corner and the room completely trashed. The boy pointed at the doll. "It was him, Mommy. He looked at me and moved." But no one believed him. Neighbors also noticed strange things. Some swore they saw the doll moving by the window while Robert was at school. Others heard knocks on their doors, but when they opened, no one was there. Only the toy sitting on the steps, still, but with a wider grin. Robert grew up but never parted with the doll. He carried it to every room in the house. Sometimes he spoke to it for hours, as if hypnotized. His fiancée, when they married, tried to hide it, but Robert went mad and forced her to return it. "He is part of me." Over time, the house fell silent. Visitors stopped coming. Robert's wife said she felt chills, that the doll watched her while she slept and sometimes changed position. The nightly laughter continued, even with Robert already an adult. Servants reported that the doll's clothes inexplicably got dirty, as if it wandered outside at night. One day, a gardener swore he saw the doll in the yard, its head tilted and its black eyes fixed on him, even though no one had taken it out there. When Robert died, the house was sold. The doll was locked in the attic, but the new owners heard laughter and footsteps coming from above. A girl who lived in the house tried to play with it, but ran downstairs screaming, saying the doll tried to strangle her in her sleep. After the incident with the girl, the owners decided to donate the doll to a local museum, the East Martello Museum. They claimed they could no longer bear the heavy atmosphere of the house or the constant nightmares of black eyes watching them in the dark. But the terror was only beginning. At the museum, staff reported that the doll moved inside its glass case at night. One guard swore it winked at him before the lights went out. Another said he heard a whisper, "I'm still here," coming from the empty display. Visitors began taking pictures of the doll, but without asking permission, their cameras failed or captured only dark blurs. Some, upon returning home, reported inexplicable accidents, sudden illnesses, or even death, always after mocking the doll. Letters started arriving at the museum, hundreds of them. People begged the doll for forgiveness, saying they didn't know it was alive, pleading for the curses to stop. Others claimed to hear childlike laughter in their homes, even thousands of miles away. Staff said some letters even moved on their own in the office or fell from the wall when someone mentioned the name Robert. The museum director, initially skeptical, admitted he no longer entered the doll's room alone at night. A medium was called in to investigate. He said the doll carried the spirit of a child, but something much older and darker was also inside. It's not just a possessed toy, it's a guardian of a terrible secret. Something was trapped there, and it wants out, he said before fainting. People claimed to hear tapping on the glass as they walked past the museum hall. A tourist recorded a video where the doll clearly moved its head. Another captured audio where a child's voice said, "I'll come with you," though she was alone. Still, the doll became one of Key West's biggest attractions. Some dare to provoke it, but almost all come back with a story to tell. Those who refuse to apologize end up receiving phone calls at night, with a familiar laugh on the other end. To this day, the museum keeps a warning: always ask permission before taking a photo. Apology letters are pinned to the walls. Staff say when no one asks permission, the doll becomes agitated. Sometimes its little hands appear marked on the inside of the glass. Many believe the woman who gave the doll to Robert sealed something dark inside it, a spirit summoned to protect him and at the same time avenge her pain. But no one has ever discovered exactly what or who is truly trapped there. Some occult scholars visited the museum to study the doll. One, a voodoo expert, said Robert's energy was so dense it filled the entire room. Another simply left without a word, pale, and never returned to the city. Children who visit the museum often grow restless near the glass. Some start crying for no reason, others point at the doll and say it's making faces or calling them into the case. But adults swear it never moved. One new staff member tried to joke around, grabbing the doll without gloves and turning it backwards. Hours later, he tripped on the stairs and broke his leg. Before passing out from the pain, he claimed he heard a child's laugh in the hallway behind him. A visiting couple decided to secretly film a documentary to prove it was all hysteria. 3 months later, both vanished under mysterious circumstances. The last footage they recorded showed the doll in the dark, smiling. Some say at night if you stare too long at the glass, you can see the doll blink. Others report feeling the temperature drop as they approach, like stepping into a grave. Few can look at it for more than a minute. Once a group of teens challenged the legend and banged on the glass, mocking the doll. On their way home, they had a serious accident. They all survived, but one swore he saw the doll sitting in the back seat just before the crash. Over the decades, stories like these piled up. Some locals still avoid walking past the museum at night. Tourists leave flowers and candy for the doll in an attempt to appease whatever is inside it. Researchers who examined the doll said the materials used were typical of Haitian voodoo dolls. Inside the stuffing, they found tiny bird bones and human ashes mixed with straw. Even after years, it smelled of damp earth. Every year, more letters arrive at the museum, desperate pleas for forgiveness. People claim that after mocking it, they began being stalked by shadows, hearing whispers at night, and seeing black eyes staring from the corners of their rooms. Even fatal accidents have been reported. Some believe the doll not only carries a malicious spirit, but also feeds on fear. The more stories spread, the stronger it gets, and they say that one day if someone breaks the glass and sets it free, nothing will be able to stop it. One night, a janitor was trapped inside the museum after hours. He said he heard light footsteps in the hall, followed by a child's laugh. When he turned around, the doll was out of its case, sitting on the floor, facing him. No one could explain how. Some visitors swear the doll changes its expression depending on who approaches. To some, it seems smiling. To others, its mouth twists in silent rage. To this day, the museum can't explain why so many photos show different faces. A local legend says the house where Robert lived remains haunted. Even after the doll was moved to the museum, neighbors say they still see a small shadow passing by the windows or hear giggles from the basement. Researchers tried recording paranormal activity. Microphones captured phrases in unknown languages, and motion sensors detected movements inside the room, though no one was there. When reviewing the tapes, the voice repeated, "I'm waiting." Some nights, staff find the doll's glass case fogged up, as if someone breathed inside. Others report tiny childlike fingerprints on the glass from the inside, though it remains locked. Some swear they hear knocks from inside the cabinet. Those who dared to destroy the doll were stopped by accidents or overwhelmed by crushing fear. One man who tried to burn it swore the flames wouldn't touch it. Instead, they burned his own hand. Even after more than a century, Robert remains intact. Nowhere explains how he survived time. The stitches stay tight, the eyes still shine, and the grin is exactly as it was the day he was given to the boy. Locals say at dusk the doll comes fully alive. Some claim to have seen small footprints in the museum's dust, leaving the case and heading toward the door. Others say they hear footsteps that never seem to reach anywhere. Many now believe the spirit inside Robert is not just a child, but something much older, something that found in the maid's hatred a way to attach itself to the doll, a spirit that never forgets and never forgives. Yet thousands still visit Robert every year, some out of curiosity, others to ask forgiveness, but everyone leaves with the same feeling, that the doll is watching them, as if choosing who will be the next to carry its curse. In the 1980s, a screenwriter named Don Mancini heard about the story of the Robert doll during a trip to Florida. He visited the museum and was fascinated and terrified by what he saw. Later, he confessed he felt something alive behind the glass. Don returned to Los Angeles with a fixed idea: to turn that real legend into a movie. But he soon realized the original story was too dark to be told to the public. The studio pressured him to soften the plot and make it more marketable and fun. In the first draft, Don wrote about a doll named Robert, possessed by an evil spirit terrorizing a family. But executives said it was too disturbing and suggested a serial killer transferring his soul into the doll instead. Thus the character Charles Lee Ray was born, a killer who transfers his soul into the doll Chucky. The name, laugh, and even the doll's outfit still referenced Robert, but Hollywood chose to erase any explicit link to the real legend. Mancini revealed in interviews that the crew experienced strange things during filming. Equipment failed, dolls disappeared from the set, and voices were heard in the studio at night. Some believed Robert didn't like how they distorted his story. During filming the first movie, one of the animatronics fell unexpectedly, almost injuring a crew member. Others reported nightmares about a sailor-suited doll, not Chucky, as if the original entity was watching and warning them. Hollywood insisted on making Chucky a comedic character to dilute the horror, but behind the scenes, everyone knew. The real doll was far more sinister than any script could show. They even banned Don from mentioning Robert in interviews. When asked about the inspiration, Don always deflected. He said it was a mix of ideas or just creativity. But those close to him say he kept newspaper clippings about Robert and refused to talk about him at home. Even today, many horror fans don't know Chucky was inspired by a real doll, and even fewer know the true story is worse than anything shown on screen. Hollywood chose to hide it to avoid panic and boycotts. But some say Robert never forgave Don for turning him into a joke. Some believe that's why many involved in the franchise had personal troubles, accidents, or sudden deaths, as if the doll's curse still hovered over them all. After the success of Child's Play, Don Mancini never returned to the museum. He reportedly told friends he felt a presence whenever he tried to speak about Robert, a shadow following him as if watched by invisible eyes. Some crew members also reported misfortunes after filming. One had a mysterious car accident, another suffered a nervous breakdown. All swore they heard laughs in the dark, the same laugh recorded for Chucky, but colder and realer. Museum visitors keep leaving apology letters to Robert, but now some mention the name Chucky as well, as if somehow the two entities confused or merged into a single curse. Hollywood will never admit the story is real. To them, admitting Chucky was born from a truly cursed doll would be signing their own death warrant, so they hide files, burn reports, and silence those who talk too much. The museum, however, never closed Robert's display. He's still there, behind glass with his malicious grin, waiting. Staff say he likes to be remembered. Every movie, every sold doll strengthens his presence and power. At night, the museum is completely silent, but those brave enough to walk the hallway can hear a whisper. "I was the first." A low, childish voice, but filled with something ancient and cruel. And the most sensitive feel someone walking beside them. And so, the doll that inspired Chucky remains trapped in his glass case, watching. Some say his eyes glow when someone dares to doubt his story. Others swear he smiles wider at those who mock his power. No one knows what would happen if someone freed Robert from his case. The old say he still holds a blood debt, a promise of revenge never fulfilled. And maybe he's just waiting for the right moment to return. The truth is, Hollywood only showed us the surface. Beneath the comedic terror of Chucky lies a real dirty, dark story of pain, witchcraft, and hatred. A story still alive, hidden, pulsing with every sinister laugh echoing in the dark. So next time you watch a Chucky movie, remember, he's not just a character. He was born from something real, something still alive, waiting behind the glass, with black eyes and a malicious grin, choosing who will be next.